Hello everyone, welcome back to Tom Reads Things. My name is Tom. I hope you're all very well. Today, it's time. It's late, I know, but it's time to talk about Harry Potter 2020 and my thoughts on the first time reading The Philosopher's Stone. So yes, for anyone who doesn't know, I am running a kind of read-along challenge type thing where basically, because I've never read the Harry Potter books before in my life, I've watched all the films but never read the books, I have decided to read them for the first time as an adult, starting from January 2020 and reading one book a month. So starting with The Philosopher's Stone and then going to The Chamber of Secrets in February, Prisoner of Azkaban in March, and so on and so forth, until July when we finish the series. So I'm inviting anyone who hasn't read the books before or who has read the books before and is just looking for any bloody excuse to read them again, to join in with me. And what I'm going to be doing is reading a book in the month, and then at the end of the month or halfway through the next month, as is this video, doing a video where I talk about my feelings about that book in relation to my preconceptions about the Harry Potter world from watching the films and all of those kind of things. My experience of coming to the books as a new reader. So yeah, this month I'm talking about The Philosopher's Stone, which was the January read for Harry Potter 2020. I loved this book. I'm so pleased that I enjoyed it. I think because I enjoy the film so much and I enjoy the Harry Potter world so much, I was nervous about reading these because I was like, what if I just don't like the books and actually I just really like the films and just really like the world of Harry Potter, but actually don't really connect with the books and don't really find the same kind of level of magic in the books. Good God, it was brilliant. I had nothing to worry about. J.K. Rowling is just an absolutely fantastic writer, despite, her personal views about certain things. I'm not going to really be talking about that in these videos. I'm going to be concentrating on the books themselves, separate from the author. So yes, I absolutely adored this. A couple of things that I wasn't expecting, but just didn't really matter at all. The first thing that came up in this, who knew Dudley Dursley blonde? Who knew that? I didn't. In the film, he's not blonde. Didn't matter though. He's written as such a fantastic character. Actually, all the Dursleys are written as such amazing characters in this. And I just knew I was in safe hands as soon as I started. I was just like, I know I'm going to love this. I know it's going to be absolutely brilliant. And it didn't disappoint at all. Oh, I have so many wonderful things to say about this book. The first thing, well, apart from the Dursleys being blonde, one of the things that I noticed was that, and I don't know why it was so much of a surprise to me, because some people had warned me, and it wasn't a problem at all. I just wasn't expecting it so much, because the last thing that I ingested, shall we say, of the Harry Potter world was I watched Deathly Hallows Part 2 a couple of weeks ago, just before I started reading this, in December, just before I started reading this in January, and it's very dark. And then coming full circle back right to the beginning of this book, the beginning of the series, you very much realise that this is a children's book and that it's written for children. And it very much reads like a children's book. But that wasn't a problem at all. Loved it. And I think that's the whole point. And J.K. Rowling has said before that she knew the books were going to get darker as her audience grew up. What they could take in terms of depth and darkness in the books would grow. So she always said that she knew the books were going to get darker as they went along and more mature. So I'm really looking forward to see how the books develop throughout the series. But yeah, I kind of wasn't expecting it to be so much of a children's book as it was, but I loved it just as much for that, if not more, to be honest. Another thing which really struck me reading this, and it's especially around, it kind of first hit me with the description of Professor McGonagall in this book, is the similarities between, now please don't kill me, any hardcore Harry Potter fans, the similarities between Harry Potter, the basic premise of the story, boy wizard goes to wizarding school, has friends, you know, has teachers that he doesn't like, teachers that he does like. That core premise of the book and some of the descriptions of the characters really reminded me of The Worst Witch, especially in Professor McGonagall's description. She's described as a tall, slim witch with scraped back black hair in a bun, and anyone who's read The Worst Witch or has seen the TV programmes and films of The Worst Witch will recognise that as a very prominent character in The Worst Witch. Can't remember her name. What's her name? Can't remember. But yeah, it really struck me, the similarities between The Worst Witch and this book. It doesn't take anything away from this book at all, but as I was reading, I was like, God, I've read something very similar to this before, and I realised it's The Worst Witch. Obviously, they're very different in a lot of ways, but the basic premise is very, very, very similar. So I was like, oh, goodness me. I don't think there's any plagiarism going on here, but crikey O'Reilly, it's a bit on the nose. Similarities to The Worst Witch, not a problem, but just found it really interesting. So the last thing that I want to talk about with regards to this book is that I was so pleased because I actually felt that the film of this was actually really faithful to the book. I know J.K. Rowling has said before that it'd be impossible to fit all of everything that happens in these books into 2 hours worth of film, but I do still think that the film of The Philosopher's Stone is very faithful to this book. I could picture as I was reading this, I was picturing the scenes in my head in relation to the films. And I could see it scene for scene almost sometimes, exactly how she described it. I felt like they have really done a fantastic job with the Philosopher's Stone film. I don't know about the other books, I haven't read them yet. But yeah, I felt that they were very, very, very faithful to the book. And it kind of made it a bit more of a nicer reading experience for me, because I kind of knew what was coming, and I wasn't all of a sudden taken off in a completely different direction. I felt that the fact that they were so faithful to the book in this case, was a great thing. So yeah, even more heightened my enjoyment of it. So there you go, that's my thoughts on The Philosopher's Stone. Really, really, really enjoyed it. Very much looking forward to reading The Chamber of Secrets in February. And I will be back in another couple of days with another video, but I'll be back in end of February, beginning of March, with my thoughts on The Chamber of Secrets for Harry Potter 2020. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Bye.